You saw the title, you know what it is. I love a lot of games, but there's one game that sticks out the most to me. But I have a soft spot for some horror games. And that game is... wait, wrong box. There we go, Five Nights at Freddy's. A game about cute bears, bunnies, chickens and foxes that come alive at night to kill you in your security office. Survive all nights and get a paycheck. With 7 or 8 games, Five Nights at Freddy's is a popular franchise, packed with lore. And to play the game, you need to know the cast: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica and Foxy. With a secret golden thread, you have 2 doors and a light and cameras to block the animatronics from coming into your office and putting you inside of a suit. The bad thing is that there are still endoskeletons and wires in the suits that will crush you. Each night gets harder and harder, until it's near impossible. Now let's go through a list of the games. FNAF 1 is the one that I've stated, so we will skip that. But FNAF 2 has more mechanics and more animatronics. It has a theme of new animatronics being the toys and old ones being retired and broken up. You have a mask and no doors. The list of FNAF 2 is Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Mango, the Puppet, JJ and Balloon Boy. The Puppet is different. You have to wind up the music box from your cameras to keep her inside. And since there are no doors, the mask will be used to trick the animatronic sensors and make them think that you are Freddy. But it does not work on Foxy. Instead, you have to flash a light at Foxy's eyes to stun him and make him go back to parts and service. And the Withered animatronics list are Withered Freddy with a couple of wires sticking out, Withered Bonnie with no face and a missing arm, Chica with her jaw broken and no arms, and Foxy has some patches, and Golden Freddy will come through the corridor to attack you on his giant floating head. But I can't end FNAF 2 without stating the Shadow animatronic, Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Freddy will appear when all of the Withered animatronics leave parts and service, and he will take normal Withered Freddy's place. And Shadow Bonnie will appear in your office, and if he jump scares you, he will crash the game. Now it is time to talk about FNAF 3 with the Phantom and Springtrap. The Phantom animatronics aren't able to kill you. They can only damage your systems in your office, which will alert Springtrap that you are in that room. Springtrap is able to go through the vents or the door. You can lure him away by making a child's voice echo through the hallways for him to go to a specific room. And if you beat all the nights, you see as the founder William Afton get trapped inside a Spring Bonnie suit, and then that is why he is so aggressive as Springtrap 30 years after. Now for FNAF 4, I'll have to bring up some lore, because you play as one of the main characters in the lore, Michael Afton. FNAF 4 revolves around Nightmare animatronics, Nightmare Freddy, Nightmare Bonnie, Nightmare Chica, Nightmare Foxy, Nightmare Fredbear, and finally Nightmare. Nightmare Freddy will appear when his Freddles appear on the bed. Shine them with your flashlight to scare them. Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica will stand in the hallway, and you have to hear them breathing through the cracks of the door. Close the door if you hear the breathing. Nightmare Foxy will appear in your closet. Hold the door shut until he turns into a plushie. Nightmare and Nightmare Fredbear will take all of the Nightmare animatronics' place. But I need to finish off with the Halloween DLC. Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica are replaced with Jackal Bonnie and Jackal Chica. Nightmare Foxy will be replaced by Nightmare Mango, and Nightmare Fredbear will be replaced by Nightmarian, the nightmare form of the puppet. And in the normal game there's Plushtrap, a small version of Springtrap. You stand in a small hallway when Plushtrap sits on a chair. You have to turn your flashlight off and wait for him to come to you. You have to wait for him to get on the X, which is right in front of your face. And the Halloween update has Nightmare Balloon Boy instead of Plushtrap. If you beat all the nights, you will see a crying child that you will play as. Each night a timer goes down for 5 days until the party, 4 days until the party, 3 days until the party, and 2 days until the party, and so on. The main character that you play as is Michael, the older brother who tortures the crying child by dressing up in a foxy mask and hiding under his bed and other places. Once the party comes, he is celebrating at Fredbear's family diner. Michael and his friends dress up in character masks and crowd around him. They pick him up and bring him to Fredbear, who's performing, and they put him inside of Fredbear's mouth. And the spring locks in the Fredbear animatronic fail when there's moisture. So,
was that the bite of 87?
No 2015 Markiplier. That is what's known as the bite of 83. This is shown in the Fredbear and Friends cartoon where it says copyright 1983. But FNAF 4 has one of the biggest mysteries of Five Nights at Freddy's. That being the box. You try to open it, but it says things are better off forgotten for now. That seems to be all for Five Nights at Freddy's, because it did say it was the final game. Wait, what? So, now let's talk about something less scary. Clowns. FNAF 5, or Sister Location, is about you working at Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals with the Funtime animatronics. They have a circus theme, like Funtime Freddy and Foxy, Ballora, and most importantly, this little girl called Circus Baby. The place that you work is underground. In this game you have the upper hand because you can use a control shock on the animatronics, which will reset them back. Night 1 is about you getting known to the job, showing you where to go and what to do. But once the next night begins, you go into Circus Baby's room and you give her a control shock. When it doesn't work, the power goes out and you go underneath the table when these things called biddy-babs come from the vents. They try to hold the door open underneath the table when you try to hold it back and keep them out. The hand unit comes out and says that he was unsuccessful on getting the power on. He tells you to go through Ballora Gallery and to the breaking room. When you go in, Funtime Freddy is inside of there. You play a video of Bon Bon's voice to make him go away. You turn on all of the power and then you escape. Night 3, you go into Funtime Foxy's room where you flash the light to see if she's there or not. You get past her and you go into Parts and Service where you meet Funtime Freddy again. While you are fixing him, Bon Bon escapes from his hand. You catch him and put him back on his hand. When you're done, you run back into Funtime Foxy's room, but she catches you and you wake up in a Springlock suit. Ballora is next to you and you have to wind up the Springlock so that it doesn't kill you, while the mini Renas climb inside of your body. If you move too much, the mini Renas will kill you, and you must do this in 3 minutes. In Night 5, you go back into Funtime Foxy's room, but in Parts and Service there is Circus Baby waiting for you. She tells you that Ballora is in the room and to be careful. You press a button and it brings Circus Baby to the scooping room. You crawl through the vents to get to the scooping room where you find Ennard through the window. He tells you that all of the animatronics have been there that day and you get scooped, taking out your skeleton, and he jumps inside of your body. Wake up and look in the mirror where Ennard's eyes are glowing, and Ennard will enter your house, where if you refuse to go to the scooping room, you will go back home and Ennard will enter your house. And that is the end of FNAF 5. And now the final game for today, FNAF 6. FNAF 6 is different because you run your own Fazbear Entertainment pizzeria. The first day you just buy the essentials as a ball pit and some balloons. You go into somewhere that I do not know and start doing tasks by making them load on the computer. Once your day is done, you have to do a thing called a salvage, where the animatronics from the previous games come back in their broken forms. First is Molten Freddy, which is a destroyed version of Enad without Circus Baby. You play audio, and if they move, you have a taser to tase them. Once you are finished, you go back into your pizzeria and start buying more things like animatronics and stages, which is when you can get the cheapest ones, such as Trash and the Gang, Biff, Pan Stan, Bucket Bob, Number 1 Crate, Mr. Hugs, and Mr. Can Do. Night 2 is the same as Night 1, but a bit harder with Molten Freddy coming from the vents. And for the salvage of the night, Scrap Trap. The next batch of characters are the mediocre melodies, including Mr. Hippo, Happy Frog, Pig Patch, Ned Bear, and Orville. Night 3's salvage is Scrap Baby when she was ejected from Enad. Day 3's animatronics that you can buy are Rockstar Freddy, Rockstar Bonnie, Rockstar Chica, Rockstar Foxy, and Lefty. And the final salvage is Lefty. The final animatronics that you can get are L-Chip, Music Man, and the final one is Funtime Chica. Now let's talk about the 6 different endings. First is Bankruptcy, where you lose all your money from buying animatronics. Second is Mediocrity, where you buy nothing. Third is Insanity, where you find some blueprints made by Henry Emily. Fourth is Blacklisted, when you get a risk of 50, then you get fired. Number 5 is Lawkeeper, where you play a minigame where you see Henry Emily's daughter being locked outside by bullies and get killed by William Afton. The 6th ending is where you salvage all animatronics. You get locked in and a fire starts from Henry Emily. He talks about burning down all of the locations and killing all of the animatronics in the way. And I will play that audio.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the dark devil waiting for a friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then. So let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
And with that, the main storyline of Five Nights at Freddy's comes to a close. I hope you enjoyed the video, and happy Halloween.